terrible with microphones, so. I know, I just didn't know if you guys would be able to hear me without it or not. So. What? Hi, guys. So my name's Braden. I'm with the Lino Lakes Fire Department. This is my partner, Matt. We're both on duty crews today, and then we have officers Rainey and Paulson from the Lino Lakes Police Department. So right now we're just doing a couple things today. Me and Matt are going to be going over a couple of the expectations for what you guys are going to be doing when you guys have a situation here at Lyngblomsten, and what your guys' policies are that'll cooperate with your staff and our response. So throughout the day, between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., you'll see faces like me and Matt usually here. Unfortunately, pretty common. This is one of our higher hitting areas where we might have someone who's having a medical event, or if we had something going on with a fire alarm system or something going on in the building. So if between those hours, you'll usually see someone with an ambulance, law enforcement officer, or with the fire department. So some of the expectations to go on, if you're obviously having a medical event, usually you'll have your staff with you who are able to confer with you. We'll figure out what's going on. We'll usually have an ambulance that's with you as well, and we'll be able to figure out what you need further, whether you're going to go to a hospital, whether you're going to get evaluated by your nurse here or your staff throughout the day. We'll be here to evaluate you as well, but that's only in the case of a medical event. If there was something to say, let's say there's smoke in the building, a fire event, a fire alarm, or you might have a carbon monoxide alarm in your building that likes to go off inside your unit. There's a couple things that we're going to just go over quick. Sorry, I'm a terrible public speaker. So your guys' building goes under what they call a race model. One of three things. Your staff are going to try and make sure that you are not in the affected area. So if there is a fire in the building, let's say you guys are upstairs in the kitchen, not the kitchen, the dining space upstairs. Let's say there's a fire in the dining space up there. They're going to try and remove you from that area. And then the cool thing about your guys' building is you are up to new code, which means all your doors that are in here, the big ones that are behind you, some of the big metal ones that might be throughout the building, or any of the big wood ones, they have little activated magnets that'll shut that area off and basically be a fire block for everything going on in there, including the smoke in that compartment. Now from there, if you're not in there and you're just somewhere out throughout the building, let's say you're in your apartment or in one of the daily activity areas, you're just going to stay where you are. We'd rather have you shelter in place because you're out of the way, you're not a distraction, and you're in a safe environment where we don't have to come evaluate if you need to be moved at that moment. If there is a danger actively with you, your staff will try to get you out of that area, and if it's, let's say a fire is going off in the middle of the room here, they will attempt to take care of it themselves, or we come in here with all of our fancy tools off our fire truck outside and we'll take care of that. Beyond that, you guys, your biggest thing is to stay away from it, stay where you are if you're in a safe environment, or just to listen to your staff and the volunteers who are here with you. Other than that, we like to take care of the rest, and usually it takes us a little bit of playtime to isolate that situation and make it tenable for you guys. Does anybody have any questions at all? It can be related to anything that could happen in the building, what we're going to do for you, anything to do with the fire department. Doesn't bother us at all. In the back.
When we have a fire drill in the building, we have to stay in our rooms, and we really don't ever know what's going on.
Yep.
Is that when the staff is checking stuff out around the building?
Yep, so if there's a fire drill that's going on throughout the building, sometimes that's one of two things. They're just checking the alarms to make sure they work, or they're having a company come in to do it as well. Sometimes it can also involve us, but usually doesn't. You staying in your room, whether it's an actual event or a drill, is your current policy between your staff and the building. They want you to stay in that safe place because you're in an isolated area, unless your apartment was the one that's affected, and they don't want you to kind of go out and make a little more of a situation unbearable with trying to move more people from an area that might be affected. If you guys also notice, in this building and even just in this room, we have sprinklers all over the place. If you have sprinkler activations ever as well, you're going to have the same thing. Your fire alarms are going to start going off at one point or another, and we're going to try and get you away from that area because water is also something we don't like to get you guys contaminated by or just be messed around with. So your sprinklers will end up going off if there is a fire in your apartment that does unfortunately happen, Or if it's something going on in a kitchen, a hallway, those will activate, and it's the same type of drill. Stay where you are, or you'll get evacuated by your staff. Or at some point or another, we'll come in and say hi to you and make sure everything's A-okay, or we'll come to move you. Does anybody else have anything? Yes, sir. For us, we're about, 8 minutes down the street? Give or take 8 minutes down the street during the day when we're staffed. Overnight, it depends. We have a paid-on-call model where they're coming from home to get to the station, get a truck out the door, but anywhere between that 8-minute mark, sometimes 5 minutes, depending on where we are and who's coming. Sometimes the cops will get here a lot faster than we will. Yep. Does anybody else have anything? Seeing none, I can hand this over to our friendly law enforcement partners. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Staff, are you paid staff or are there a lot of volunteers in your fire department?
Me and Matt, we're both paid staff. All of our members are paid staff. However, during the daytime, we have what's called a duty crew model. That'll be staffed 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 365 days a year. So Sunday to Sunday, during the daytime, we're staffed and we have people around. Whether they're busy or not, depends on the day. But they will be here. Wonderful. Chief?
Good afternoon, everyone. First, thank you for having this event. Night to Unite primarily is about you gathering together to get to know each other. This is how we build strong relationships in our community. And then it's also an opportunity for the police and the fire to come out under circumstances where you don't necessarily need our help. You're just there to get to know us as individuals, get to know us as police officers, and engage in conversation about maybe what's going on in your neighborhood, to ask those questions that you maybe normally wouldn't do. So again, thank you for coming together. We have a drone pilot here. We'd love to show you a demonstration of what that looks like. This is a tool that we use in our community. A common use might be, we're looking for someone who is missing. This could be a young child that has wandered away from home. This gives us eyes above a neighborhood, and it helps us locate them more quickly. But we also use it if there is somebody that's wanted for a crime. You know, it makes it a more efficient process for us when we can have a device in the sky that has thermal imaging and it can see people in the dark. So we'd love to be able to show you this tool that we have in our community. We're fortunate to have it. We've had this tool since about 2023. But before we head out, do you guys have questions for us as a police department team that perhaps that we can answer for you? And if you don't, that's okay. Kind of putting you on the spot.
You patrol the area regularly?
We do. So our patrol team, at all times, we need to have 2 patrol officers working. Depending on the time of day, we could have shift overlap, and we could have many more than that. So there's always 2 that are on patrol. During the day, we have administrative staff that is working, so we have an investigations unit. So we have 2 of our investigators back there, Matt Paulson and Matt Reinecke. So they maintain typical business hours where they're working and investigating more complex cases. And then you have Sergeant Owens, who is in charge of our investigations unit, and then me, I'm the chief for our police department. So we don't patrol as often, but we're in uniform so that we can respond if there's a significant call.
Do the men and women who patrol have a large area to cover?
They do. So our city is about 6 miles by 6 miles, so that's 36 square miles that they're responsible for. And the expectation is that they try to maintain their district on the east side or their district on the west side. So when a call comes in, the officer responds to the call that's assigned in their area.
Are all officers also paramedics?
We are trained to the EMR level, so that is not the paramedic level. Your daytime firefighters, though, are trained to a higher level. We both respond to medical calls because we don't always know the true nature of what this call is. And if it's a significant medical event, we want to have as many resources there as possible. And perhaps one of the firefighters back there could tell me, what level of medical training do your daytime duty crew have? EMT or paramedic?
We're all EMT, and then we have a ALS accreditation essentially, so we do some advanced skills that a medic would do. But the only medic that Lyngblomsten has is our fire chief.
So hopefully that answers your question. The fire chief does respond during the day. So again, we want to right size the response to the nature of the call, and for those more acute medicals, we make sure that we're sending the properly trained staff to handle it. But keep in mind, we have an ambulance crew, right? And they're also trained to a higher degree and are able to provide that care that you need.
But the ambulance isn't Lino Lakes, correct?
The ambulance is not Lino Lakes, correct? Glad you brought that up. So there is a non-emergency number and there's 911. Our dispatchers actually prefer that you just call 911. It's going to go to the same computer. It's going to go to the same person answering the lines. They're likely going to answer it the same way. 911, what's your emergency? So when you call, it starts to generate notes in a computer system. And they're going to verify your location. They're going to get your name. They're going to ask you for the nature of the call. And as they're inputting this information, it starts to generate a call that they're going to dispatch to the police department, the fire department. If it is a medical call, at some point they're going to transfer you to pre-arrival, and that's through Alina, and they'll start to get information about the nature of the medical. Once they've gathered enough information, they will call us on our police radio, and they will give us the address that we need to respond and give us a brief overview of what the call is.
How many 911 centers are there in the metro area?
Don't have that information. In Anoka County, we have a centralized dispatch center. So within Anoka County, it is one. They handle all 911 calls. Occasionally, if you're close to 35E or 35W, that will actually get routed to State Patrol's dispatch center. So sometimes there's some dispatch-to-dispatch communication that takes place. William, would you have any information about number of dispatch centers?
No, I think the like best practices, the most acceptable one in Minnesota is to have dispatch centers run through the county, but I think there's some agencies that still have it in-house.
Does the county use AI in those centers then?
They do. They begin testing an AI answering service about a month and a half ago. They were testing it behind the scenes and then they went live with it. So if you do call, there is the chance that you will talk to AI. There is a way for you to move past that to talk to a person. The intention of that technology is to handle low-level non-emergency calls.
I don't know if this is an appropriate question, but I have an Apple Watch, and if I call and don't answer them, it's supposed to call 911. I don't know if it actually does that, I hope so. But will that then go to like a regular 911 call?
It's
Will they know where I'm located by that?
depending on how new your device is, that may impact that, but it's actually pretty common for us to get crash detection alerts or fall detection alerts from different devices. Thankfully, most of those just end up being, someone drops their phone or they drop their watch. So, no promises with your technology, but that is pretty common for us to get those types of notifications. So that you have alerts, or that if you fall, that we would be notified. The most common one that seems to be is an Apple product. I wouldn't endorse Apple. I actually have Samsung as my products, but that seems to be one that we get a lot of notifications from. But you'd want to do your research into that. If you think of additional questions while we're outside, feel free to grab anybody in uniform here. Again, today is about you getting to know each other and you getting to know us as well. We're privileged to serve you, to serve this community. We're grateful for the support that you offer to us. Lino Lakes is really a fantastic community. It's a safe community. It's a community that has strong community bonds, and we're just really grateful to be your police department. So, no question. Feel free.
Okay. If you call 911 and you're in your apartment alone and the door is locked, what happens? And it's after 8 o'clock.
So we would, and same with fire, we would work on getting a key or a method to get into your unit without damage. However, if we're not able to do that, we would force entry to help. So our first effort, as long as it's not super urgent, is to find means to get in with a master key. I don't know if you guys have key cards or physical keys to get in, but we would work with staff to find a way to get in.
There's a master key and it locks out there. So when you respond to open the door, you have the key also for the master.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Well, I think we'll head outside then, and if we want, we can also take a look at the fire truck. I believe we have at least one police vehicle out there too, so please join us out there, okay? Thank you very much.